Greetings, sponsor dudes. How you doing? First of all, apologies. It's been a whole month and I hadn't posted. I I have been in Hong Kong, Indonesia, Korea, Hangzhou, China, and somewhere else, inspecting factories and doing all sorts of Chapman work for the past 2 weeks and a bit. And the jet lag, basically I flew straight back from Asia, had 2 days off, and then I went to Andertons and filmed for 3 days with Lee. And it's just been absolutely impossible to set my room up. And what I wanted to do was buy a couple of new things before I shot a lesson for you. So I got new mics, SM7B. I've got this cool vocal mic from Rode. And it should make the quality a lot better. And I kind of thought, you know what, I'm sure they won't mind waiting a few days. So let's have kind of a long one. So buckle down, grab a beverage, and let's go over some interesting chord shapes, comps, vamps, talk about a little bit of theory, do some licks, just a load of different kinds of things that you might be interested in learning. Sorry, I'm wearing really random clothing. My wife is away and I'm in like bachelor pad mode. So I'm like shorts, t-shirt. It's Pride in Brighton today. And to be really honest with you, I'm hungover because last night was a massive birthday party for Bea, for Rory, and for Dave. They all turned 30 the last couple of months. So I was up at Brighton Electric, and it's a big studio in Brighton, jamming and just having a lot of fun with way too much alcohol, and introducing my new guitarist to in the Clockwork Wolf Co band to everyone else, which was really cool and very odd. I don't know if you know, but Mikey had to leave the band that was called Rob Chapman Band and then became River Thief and is now called Clockwork Wolf Co. Mikey had to leave because unfortunately he's just too busy. And this one guy stepped up and said he would love to play in the band. He's the guitarist for Britney Spears. His name's Zach Comtois. He's a Chapman artist. So, and he's in Brighton now because Britney Spears is headlining Pride. So it was a crazy, what? Okay, you're in the band. Let's just go and jam at the 30th party. Anyway, the rest is, as they say, histoire. The request from you guys was show us the boogie and then give us a lesson. So that's what I'm going to do, using my British Ghost Fret. I don't need to give this any kind of introduction. You know exactly what it is. It's insane. By the way, I understand that Guitar Center have just ordered like 16 British standard guitars, which is amazing. Absolutely amazing. I think like 30 of them are going out the first month. So that's been so successful and so awesome. So little tiny Mark V 25. Oh. You know what? It's what happened to the first boogie that I ever owned, which was a Studio Point 25. This is kind of what they did with that design. And I killed that amp because it burst in flames, which was really sad because I borrowed it from a friend. And this is my new squeeze. So let me just give you really quickly. Oh, you know what? I haven't even checked what the clean volume is like. It's a loud one. Yada yada, clean tones. Here's a bit of crunch. The crunch is amazing. Oh, would be amazing if it, for some reason. the reason I want it is because it does this. This is such a lovely harmonic kind of content gain sound. On the floor I've got the Inspire by New Neighbor, which is, I've got it on a delay and chorus setting. And what I've been doing is I've been playing with a chord progression that just goes from Lydian, so that, imagine the 4th position of a major scale. And then I take it down to the 2nd position of a major scale, which is Dorian. So, you just play G major. And then you can play E minor, like you can do that, or if you want, you can put your little finger on this B string and play that 2nd fret, and you're playing the major 6, which would kind of make this representative of Dorian, which is a minor scale with a major 6. Especially if you wiggle it. But you don't want to be like, it's a bit jarring. But what you can do is kind of add it and take it out. And then, so just those 2 chords alone, let me show you the thought process that goes behind my ears and above my ears slightly. And I'll teach you just a couple of stupid licks and things. I'm kind of getting into Satch territory with the modal improvisation over chords. So we've got this G chord. And like I said, this represents Lydian, which is a major scale with a sharp 4th. And Lydian's scale looks like this from the root. So what I thought would be like a nice melody would be... So all I've done is I've played the G chord, and then immediately my head goes, you're in G Lydian. So I'm thinking about the scale shape and all the notes and where they sit, and I'm going straight to 1, 2, 3, 4, this 5th note of Lydian, and then quoting the note that kind of makes it Lydian, which is the sharp 4, down to the 2nd note, and then up here, and then that takes me, it is an E, so it takes me to the E chord. So I'm using the melody to bring me into that E chord. Now the cool thing about Dorian is that you just play blues over it. And so what you've got there is a really cool two-chord trick that you can record. I just dropped my plectrum, it's really inconvenient. I'm gonna have to, oh god, that's the sound of 43 years. You can record it or put it on a pedal and then just jam over it, but make sure that you do it really slowly. Don't be like... You're not going to absorb the musicality from the 2 modes that you're playing between. So when you get to this E chord, you can either play E blues. Now, because my hand was naturally in the middle of the guitar, I'm using position 3, which looks like this. Or you could play E Dorian, and all you would need to do really is incorporate a major 6th degree into this scale. So if you think this is your E, that's the sound of a major 6th. You might recognize that from a lot of Dorje, because we tend to use 3rds and 6ths in riffs because the thing is, you can't avoid a 3rd. When you put a 3rd into a chord or into a riff, it really stands out. It's like bang, there's a 3rd. You can't kind of get away with it. A lot of 5ths and octaves, they don't give the listener the information about the location of the chord in the chord scale. But 3rds and 6ths go, this is my location, and they're very powerful things to use. So anyway, if you're in position 3, just think about this one note here, and if you locate it within the scale, then try and incorporate that into your blues licks in position 3. That might not be easy for you if you're not familiar with writing your own licks, but for example, that kind of thing. So here's the E note. It is the major 6th, which is a C sharp. So that C sharp is also here and here. So you could incorporate it into your blues scale like this. But you can think about it as if it's the Lydian scale mixed or crossed or hybrid with, then you can get this. Now, of course, if you know anything about the modes, you'll know that the scales don't move, the chords do. And when the chords in the progression move, the intervals in the scales magically change. So, of course, this is Dorian. And it's Lydian. So when you're on the G, it's Lydian. As soon as I hit that E, it's minor and it's Dorian. So all I want you to do is really learn that Lydian scale, and then when you start playing blues in position 3, incorporate it. So you've got, even if you just use those 3 strings, and then you've got all that. So now you can go. And you got Dorian and blues, which is something that I love to combine. For example, you'll definitely know that, let me just get some really filthy tones, that I do a lot of... And what that is just Dorian. But I'm adding the flat 5 from blues. lick from last lesson. In fact, why don't I give you a lick in the same area as last lesson, so that you have an area that's familiar that you're building up. So you had, and we started on that note. Why don't we do, start on this note. There you go. So you could do... Or you can do it slowly, so you could be like... It's really beautifully musical, isn't it? When you start considering the chord and then you work within the confines of the chord, things are... My hair is really irritating me. Things are really way more musical sounding. I think that's the thing. The last thing I wanted to do was just show you some economy picking, because I've done a couple of things on it, but I've never really gone over it in like loads of detail. So if we just take this little part of the Lydian scale, like that, and in fact, let me get rid of this chorus and delay, and let me show you how I would work that area. So I would start with down, up, down, down, up, down. But the key is, those two downs in a row, I don't consider them down, down. I consider them down. It's a sweep. So I would be going... That's just one movement. And I'm holding the pick softly, really softly, so that it just twitches between my fingers. And what you get is... In fact, I'd start with that, down, up, down, down, and then end. You see that? You can kind of do all sorts of Paul Gilbert stuff with it, but it's really useful for fluid, jazzy modal playing, like Satch would do, kind of thing. Although Satch obviously alternate picks everything. That's all picked, and it's fluid because I'm holding the pick softly, and I'm obeying the law of when you change string, you pick directly to the string. That's all I'm doing. And one of the best exercises I ever did was just to come up or just to go down with one shape. Ignore scale and just come, for example, like that. Like that. I'm just going up, 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 down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, up. And then you go down, up, down, up, down. Anyway, there is some food for your thoughts. And thank you for bearing with me while I was abroad. Sorry that I'm hungover. And I'm hoping to do another one of these for you in just a couple of weeks. You guys take it easy. Chappers out. Thank you for sponsoring me. Actually, it's not called sponsorships anymore. It's called memberships. So thank you for being a member of this tiny inner group of like 60 of you. And yeah, take it easy.